ஸ்டார்ட் தான் பண்ணணும். ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிட்டோம். Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll sing this beautiful song. This song is written by Rupa Goswami as part of Stavamala. The language is Sanskrit. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Mana Manasa Madhukaram Arpaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Mana Manasa Madhukaram Arpaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Yadyapi Samadhishu Vidirapi Pashati Natavanaka Marichi. Idami Chami Nishamya Tavachuta तदीयपि कृपाद्भुतबीजिनीम् यद्यापि तमदिषु विधिरपि पश्यति न तावनकाग्रमरीचिम् इदमेचामि निशम्य तव च्युत तदपि कृपाद्भुतबीजिनीम् कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे मनमानसमधुकरम् अर्पय निजपद पङ्कज मकरन्दे कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे भक्तिरुदञ्चति यद्यपि माधव न त्वयि मम तिलमात्री भक्तिरुदञ्चति यद्यपि माधव न त्वयि मम तिलमात्री परमेश्वर तदपि तवादिक दुर्घट घटन विधात्री परमेश्वर तदपि तवादिक दुर्घट घटन विधात्री कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे अयमविलोलत याद्य सनातन कलिताद्भुतरसभारम् अयमविलोलत याद्य सनातन कलिताद्भुतरसभारम् निवसतु नित्यम् इहामृतनिन्दिनि विन्दन् मधुरिमसारम् निवसतु नित्यम् इहामृतनिन्दिनि विन्दन् मधुरिमसारम् कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे मनमानसमधुकरम् अर्पय निजपद पङ्कजमकरन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे मनमानसमधुकरम् अर्पय निजपद पङ्कजमकरन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्णदेव भवन्तं वन्दे कृष्ण देव भवन्तं वन्दे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So we have our today's speaker, His Grace Gaur Chandra Gopinath Prabhu has already joined. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Yeah, so Prabhu, I'm just making you the host. So over to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranams.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Shodandana Bhaja Jana Randana यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव सुभद्रमाई जय सुदर्शन जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राचार्य स्तोत्र डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की सेवियर ऑफ द होल यूनिवर्स जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की समवेद भक्त वृंद की ब्रह्म संहिता की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा वेलकम ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर टुडे सेशन ललिता माताजी अन्नपूर्णा माताजी
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी
माताजी धनलक्ष्मी माताजी हरे कृष्णा प्रभु somebody written as iPhone. So iPhone Mataji or Prabhu ki jai.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Munimala Mataji, Nandini Mataji, Navakishori Mataji, Padma Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Pramila Mataji, Hare Krishna. Can somebody rename this iPhone to proper name, Mataji, please? I request if you log in with
Sure, Prabhu ji, sorry.
yeah, no problem. Today topic is same thing. We will discuss why I asked you to rename. Okay. And also when you write your names, maybe preferably write a full name. Don't write a short version of Devidasi, no DD. That's okay. At least Navakishori, it's okay. But that also don't shorten it NKDD like that. Write your full name. Especially initiated devotees. Okay. These are the lessons we will learn. I'll tell you why I'm telling this today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashyaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachida Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Hare Krishna, I need volunteers to read Shloka translation purport. Maybe one person can read it. Yes, Medhavani Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Prabhu, I'll read the verse or translation, something we will give opportunity to many devotees. Devotees can raise their hands.
Yeah.
So I'll
raise as many as possible. If they are not able to read, definitely I will ask a lot of questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you read?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Ahankaratmakam vishwam tasmat etat vyajayata. Ahankaratmakam vishwam tasmat etat vyajayata. Ahankaratmakam vishwam tasmat etat vyajayata. Shobha Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji, Hari Bol, Brahma Samhita 5.16.
Yeah.
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Ahankaratmakam Vishwam Tasmat Etapya Jayata. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I read?
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, you can go ahead. Just raise your hands and go one after another. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, Mataji. Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai. The function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas is that this universe enshrining the mundane egoistic principle has originated from Shambhu. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam.
Okay, I think we've lost Prabhu. Shobha Mataji, can you share the screen? Or it will be difficult for you?
Okay, Mataji, I will log in as HR. You can make the co-host.
Okay. I'll make you the co-host, and then when Prabhu joins, then I'll make him the.
I'll log in.
Okay, anyone else wants to volunteer? If somebody gets unmuted, then you can just mute them. Anyone wants to do that seva?
I will do, Mataji.
Okay, so Shobha Mataji, I'll make you the co-host, and then I'll make Prabhu the host. Yeah, Prabhu's joined back. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Shobha Mataji, I made you the co-host. Gaurachandra Gopinath Prabhu, I made you the host.
HR. So make HR as a co-host. HR.
Okay, can we read translation?
Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas is that this universe enshrining the mundane egotistic principle has originated from Shambhu. The function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas. Prabhu, shall I read once more, Prabhu? One line, like in Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's line. So, the function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas is that this universe enshrining the mundane egotistic principle has originated from Shambhu. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The basic principle is the Supreme Lord Himself, who is the embodiment of the principle of existence of all entities, devoid of separating egotisms. In this mundane world, the appearance of individual entities as separated egoistic symbols is a limited, perverted reflection of the unalloyed spiritual chit potency, and as representing the primal, masculine, divine, generative function, Shambhu, it is united to the accommodating principle, that is the mundane female organ, which is the perverted reflection of the spiritual chit potency, Rama Devi. At this function, Shambhu is nothing but the mere material causal principle embodying the extension in the shape of ingredient as matter. Again, when in course of the progressive evolution of mundane creation, each universe is manifested, Then, in the principle of Shambhu, born of the space between the two eyebrows of Vishnu, there appears the manifestation of the personality of Rudra. Yet, under all circumstances, Shambhu fully enshrines the mundane egotistic principle. The innumerable jivas, as spiritual particles emanating from the oversoul in the form of pencils or rays of effulgence, have no relation with the mundane world when they come to know themselves to be the eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. They are then incorporated into the realm of Vaikuntha. But when they desire to lord it over Maya, forgetting their real identity, the egotistic principle Shambhu, entering into their entities, make them identify themselves as separate enjoyers of mundane entities. Hence, Shambhu is the primary principle of the egotistic mundane universe and of perverted egotism in jivas that identifies itself with their limited material bodies. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
रोमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देकं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुधापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुदे देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनदारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत्। नमः शिवाय कृष्ण कृष्ण बोलते। Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome all of you. So today we will be discussing 5:16, and especially one liner Mataji said, but it has contained so much that we can talk about for another. The function of Shambhu in relation to jivas is that this universe enshrining the mundane egoistic principle has originated from Shambhu. So what we will do is, since you all read the purport, you have to give me a point which you want to elaborate, or you have a question. And mainly the topic would be, today's topic would be on the false ego, because everywhere they talk about the egoistic principle of the false ego or ego. That's what we want to discuss today. So you can ask me as many questions as possible, and I'm going to respond to the only question. So based on the question today, I'm going to construct my session. So start shooting the questions, or you want to elaborate something, or you want to contribute something, you can tell any point, that's okay, which you think beneficial for everyone. I've displayed the, yeah.
So Prabhuji, can you just revise Shambhu, Rudra, Shiva, that the concepts, all of them, because there is reference to Shambhu and Rudra in this verse. So if you can just quickly revise that. Yeah.
Okay.
And also the Nimitta Karan and Upadana Karan, please, Prabhu. In
Today
short.
we will focus. Today we will focus on false ego. So
Yes,
anything
sir.
in or around false ego or in the purport, let us see. Here also there is cause is there.
Yes.
So material cause principle embodying, but don't worry too much. That we will skip it. We will see any other topic. If it is not there, I'll put it as a last item.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Highly Prabhu.
ಪ್ರಭುಗಳೇ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ
Hmm.
ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಟೈನಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಜೀವಾಸ್
Correct.
ಅದರ ಯಾವ ತರ ಅದು ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಜೀವಾಸ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Haribol, sorry, no
ಸಾರಿ
regional language.
ಸಾರಿ ಮಾತಾಜಿ ಸಾರಿ
எங்களுக்கு புரிய மாட்டேங்கிறது பிரபு, எங்களுக்கு புரியல.
ಸಾರಿ ಮಾತಾಜಿ. Hence, Prabhuji, it is my request. Hence, Shambhu is the primary principle of the egoistic mundane universe and of perverted egotism in jivas that identify itself with their limited material bodies, because that is applicable in the jivas whereas like us. That's why I am asking the elaboration of that, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, Shiva is the Guna Avatara, right? One of the Guna Avatara for Tamo Guna. But here it is a reflection of Ahankara. It's really confusing.
You mean Ahankara versus Tamoguna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, then Shambhu fully enshrines the mundane egotistic principle like that. But Shambhu is the glance of the Lord. So how can it be mundane egotism? So you can just explain that, Prabhu.
Who is asking Ahankara and Tamo? Mataji, your name?
Shobha Mataji.
Okay. Anybody else? Last chance.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, my question is, ego is itself a negative word, negative quality of jiva. But why should we call it false ego?
Okay. Mataji, your good name?
Monimala.
Sorry?
Monimala. Monimala.
Okay. Okay.
MALA. Okay.
So good news is I'm not going to answer all these questions. This is all homework for you. In my class, you can pick it up. You can pick up the answer. If not, then you do a homework. Next week we will discuss. Okay. Okay. Let me start with today's topic. Okay. So I'll give you some brief about the false ego. Then automatically most of your questions will be answered. I'll try to cover them. If not, then it is homework. Okay. So we know this gross body made of panchabhutas, then subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, ego. Then there is a soul, right? So it's very important that the Shambhu Tattva, who is representing this false ego, as Krishnamurti Prabhu said, why it is impacting the jivas, how the jivas is controlled by this ahankara, or in Sanskrit it's called ahankara. In English it's called false ego. So why we need to understand that? So before that, there are different aspects of false ego. We'll look at it as we progress. We'll try deep dive into what is this stuff called false ego. What is this called false ego? Then what happens is different what is it, principal tattvas behind it. Then automatically most of your questions will be answered. So the first aspect of is I liked it from Srila Prabhupada purport is that in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:31-47, Renunciation necessitates renouncing the false understanding that one can lord it over material nature. So the topic is that it is very important to renounce. What renounce? The essence of renunciation is to renounce the false ego. Just give me a minute. Just. Am I audible now? So I was talking about the renunciation. Renunciation is the essence of renunciation is renounce the false ego. Now, to give an example, what is renunciation? Let us understand first renunciation, then we'll understand the false ego. Renunciation and there is a deprivation. So there are two things. There is some difference. Who can tell what is the difference between renunciation and deprivation? Anybody wants to try?
So, Prabhuji, renunciation means we voluntarily give up something for a higher cause. Deprivation means we want it, but we feel self-pity. Oh, why I don't have it, like that. That's my limited understanding.
Exactly. Some people say I renounce this because they may not have it, or they can't. They're deprived of certain things. So they say, right, no, this grapes is sour because they're trying to get it. They're not able to get it, or they don't have it. What they say, no, I renounce this because I'm not able to get it. That's not renunciation. That is deprivation. Renunciation is something you have voluntarily, you are able to give it up. So similarly, the Parshit Maharaj, when he was cursed 7 days to death, it is no more of his choice to leave this world, right? So it was mandate, it was compulsory thing that he has to renounce. He has to. We don't call it as he renounced to go to the we want to leave his body. It was not like that. He was in a situation. He is put into a situation where he has to mandatorily do it. Of course, he's a great personality. He's on the order of Lord, did a lot of education, and he's also a very renounced person. It's not attached to his kingdom. That's why he could able to immediately give up and go to the Ganges. So similarly, the Prabhupada says that the lording it over the mentality, I am the boss, I am at home, I am the mother, I am the father, I am the teacher, or I am managing this entire session. So I'm the speaker. So that trying to understanding that we are trying to lord it over the material nature, that conception that basically comes from the false ego. So then false ego shows that we are in control of everything, all the situation, all the time. That mentality needs to go. So Prabhupada's definition of is that when we renounce this idea of that I am the controller, I am the body, I am the family member, I am my India, my country, then you are renouncing this false ego. That is one aspect to look at it. Now let us move on to different aspects of that and come back and discuss. Now, this another aspect of is the false ego is that I like this again, Srila Prabhupada purport from 1:1822. What is real renunciation? Means perfect dependence on God. One is that we understand we are this body, I'm controlling it, that needs to go. That not only enough. Actually, you need to say, think and see every time, and you are able to see the Lord's hand. Then that is perfect renunciation. Now, there are many people talk about successful death. What it means that they would write beforehand in the diary that when I die, this is how the cremation should be done. This is the coffin, how the designful, or this the worth of the coffin to be made, and whom to all to be invited for my funeral, right? And who can speak. All those things they discuss, decide, write it in the will and give it to them. Then they think it's a successful death for materialistic people. For spiritual people, it is not that. It's a successful death does not mean that arranging something, then you are going into coffin. No, it is yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajanti ante kalevaram yevaiti kaunteya sada sat bhava bhavitaha. One who or whatever he thinks at the time of death, he'll become like that. So every person in Krishna conscious, their job, their goal is to remember Krishna at the time of death. So that's a spiritual person's okay, that's a spiritual person's ambitions, right? Um, so one is that everyone departs from this world, and there is a difference between depart to the world, to Krishna Loka or some specific Loka where you want to go. Invariably, nobody has the control over their death, and obviously, what happens is they will die, and they have to depart from this world at one point in time. It is, you can take the example of somebody is in the current modern age. If you want to see an example, there are a lot of terrorism happens in some of the Middle East countries, especially Syria and different places. The people move out of that place as a refugee to different countries. They have to leave this world, no doubt. They have to leave this place where the conflicts are happening in different parts of the world. So either they went to UK, they don't know a fixed place, but they have to go, then that's why the people will leave. But depart to the world means that completely removing this, renouncing this false ego, then you can go to Krishna world. If you have to go to Krishna world,
Couldn't hear Mataji, Prabhuji.
yeah, I'm back. So I'm working on mobile internet. Somehow I try to fix this internet working. So can I go on video? And am I audible now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we need to renounce the false ego. Then we will be able to go back to Godhead, and then it is think that. But sometimes the problem of renouncing false ego is that we don't even understand what is false ego. How many of you know what is false ego? Can you give an example? What is ahankar or false ego?
To think I'm the doer in everything.
Okay, that is one aspect. What else?
And people will think everything is done by me and mine. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that's one aspect.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I myself glorifying myself with others.
Okay.
Not to depend on God, Prabhu. No, not to depend on Krishna.
Okay.
Because I'm independent.
Okay.
That we are the servant of Krishna.
See, there are various aspects to false ego. Most of the time it comes into false ego means arrogance or is pride. This guy is really having ego. He's an egoistic person will say, see, look at his ego, so much ego he has, right? That's what we say. Shastras not only defined, we are Indian women, thank you, Swati Mataji. So that's identification. That's comes out of pride or comes out of arrogance. We show, our attitude, things like that. So it's all associated to the arrogance. False ego means not only that, it is also means that the basic existence of the soul. Also, it means that complete dependency on the Lord. I know, thinking that I know better than Krishna. I know what is better for my country. Not thinking that Krishna is, Krishna is, what do you say? Krishna knows much better than in my life. Krishna knows me what I needed. That conceptual understanding is also, the ego aspect of it. So there is okay, let's move on to the next one. Probably I'll come back. So you understand, right? So people needs to go to some places. We have to leave this place. Better we leave without ego, false ego. If we have to go with false ego, we can't go back to Godhead. So this is one of the criteria where if you want to go back to Godhead, you should not have false ego. So first we understood false ego, we need to renounce. I'm again emphasizing the reason why we need to forego false ego. with renunciation means which we possess voluntarily, we have to forego this false ego. If we have a false ego, then we might leave this world like anybody else, but we'll come back again. But if we have to renounce completely false ego, we remove the false ego, then we can choose where we want to go to, Krishna Loka or wherever, Goloka Vrindavan, wherever we want. And ego means not only the pride, arrogance, we talk about it. It is much more beyond that as well. With some of the definition as we go, we will see. So this is another wonderful title that, death of ego before our death. This was, I was emphasizing the previous one. When you leave the material world, your ego should have died. Otherwise, we are not able to make it to the spiritual world. Again, based on the false identification, karma, the itch of the Lord, this will enter into the pradhan of the Mahavishnu's body. So the subtle element, mind, intelligence, false ego, especially false ego, which has the identity of the desire which he wants to fulfill or she wants to fulfill, or the karma which is done in the pious activity or bad activity, whatever done, it's all accumulated, again enters into the pradhan. That will be never destroyed. Again, whenever required, it will be segregated to the individual souls. Otherwise, it is called Hiranyagarbha. It's a cumulative jiva. They will be there. So later in the process of much of process, we seen the creation last week. They will be segregated. The jivas will be segregated, and they individually they remind their false ego will be there. It will be never destroyed. So whatever we left in this lifetime, then let's say imagine there's a big pralaya happens, we all go back to Mahavishnu's world. Again, when we manifest our false ego where we left it, it will be there. And Brahma comes and recreates again into respective bodies. So, and in Bhagavad Gita, there are different things, it has been explained. Death is not only, physical body of the death. It is also, some people, what do you say? Honor, dishonor was then that. So when Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, you're not fighting what others will say. You are a coward boy. That's coward. That's why you are not able to fight. You are not Kshatriya, and then it will be dishonor. Then it's worse than death. You will be able to survive. For Kshatriyas, they cannot survive. So there are many aspects Krishna talks about in the death, and if you see that. One of the shloka 7.4, Bhumiraponalo vayu kam mano buddhiryevacha ahangara ityam binna prakriti ashata. So this is also one of the material element. Mahatattva, when expands into, Pradhana, when expands into Mahatattva, I talked about it, the 16 and 23 elements. So one of the element is mind, intelligence, ahangara as well. So this will expand jiva when comes out into Mahatattva, when they, interact with the modes of material nature, this ahankara also comes out. The intelligence comes out of mode of passion. Ahankara comes mode of ignorance. Somebody was asking what is the relation, and mode of goodness is the mind. So these are the interrelation between these three gunas and the three aspect of the subtle body. So the intelligence comes from the mode of passion, ahankara comes of mode of ignorance, and the mind comes mode of goodness. So this is some aspects. And also, so my question to you is, what happens to the ahankara after death or after liberation? What do you think? Anybody wants to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, I think that after that, this Ahankara, Ram, mind and other intelligence with the same soul, they will enter the other body if we are eligible for it. If we are not eligible if you have successfully made it to a pure devotee, all the subtle elements will merge in the 5 Panchatattvas, Prabhuji, to my knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Panchatattva?
Prakriti, Prabhuji, to the matter.
No, see, if you are within the universe,
No, we
When
are
you-
yes, Prabhuji. When we leave our body, when the soul is there with mind, intelligence, and go, it goes to, if you are transmitting from one body to other body, we'll be going from one body to other body. No, or if we have completed the totally what we have done in, then all the other items will be going towards the universal elements, Prabhuji. Later on, the pure soul will be accommodated with Krishna, no, Prabhuji.
So you're telling there is no mind intelligence when you are with Krishna?
No, I'm not saying that. Mind and
Yeah, that's what my question was. What will happen when we go back to Krishna?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I tell?
Yeah.
Try. Prabhuji, I think the false ego turns into the real ego. The ahankara will remain with the jiva tattva, because at that time we realize that we are the servant of the Lord. So that is the real ahankara, and that will remain with the jiva. Hare Krishna.
What happens to the intelligence and buddhi? Intelligence and mind?
Prabhuji, ahankara is the top one, so I think that will be there. That we are using the mind and intelligence. I think that will be there, no, with the ahankara, because when you say the ladder wise, the buddhi, then man, then buddhi, then ahankara. So ahankara controls man and buddhi. So I can't specifically say what will happen to buddhi, but I think that will be our intelligence at that time, that we are the servant of the Krishna, and that realization will make us that will turn the false ego into the
So you're
real
telling
ego.
false
But
ego
in
controls the mind and intelligence? You said something controlling. What, can you repeat that again? False ego controls mind and intelligence?
Whenever you all like in lecture they tell that the man, buddhi, and then ahankara will come. The buddhi controls the man, and from that the ahankara develops. Like we have the ahankara that I am doing this, that, but that what is the false ego will turn into real ego, that
So
we
you
are
are telling
the
intelligence is not superior. Ahankara is superior than intelligence.
yes, Prabhuji.
So then mode of ignorance is controlling mode of passion. I told you clearly, right? What comes out of what? Ahankara comes out of mode of ignorance. If ahankara is powerful, then it is controlling the mode of goodness and passion.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is that what you conclude? Okay, see, Bhagavatam is very important literature, and it gives no other scripture emphasizes death more than Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we talk about death, there are different things. One is death of ego, death of our pride, death of our identity. There are a lot of things. The death of this physical body. When Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see that how Bhishma Pitama left, the elaborate discussion about how one should leave the body, that is given. And also it talks about Dhritarashtra leaving his body, because after Vidura's advice, Krishna leaving the body. Every canto, every Srimad Bhagavatam will have one example of how people are leaving this body almost. And how Prithu Maharaj left this body, how Dhruva Maharaj left this body, how Krishna himself left this body, right? Many things they would talk about to elaborate more on this. So there are a lot of things to learn because this is very important subject matter. Without this false ego, death of this false ego, we will not be able to go back to Krishna. Or when we are not able to renounce this false ego, then we are again born in this world again. So this is very important that understand this aspect. And when you say that Ahankara controls mind and intelligence, are you sure? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let it be there. We'll come back to it. Meanwhile, you think about it. So dependence. Now, few solutions I will give. Now, so far we are seeing different aspect of false ego. Then we understand that. See, from this wonderful story of Indra, we can understand this wonderful story. Okay, let us see. He is coming with Surabhi cow. Let me share this. So this is the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam 27 chapter, where Indra comes and begs forgiveness because his false ego, right, was hurt drastically because he was trying to lift Govardhan. He was insulted. They will not do puja, Govardhan puja. Then he got angry, stuff like that. So then he comes and prays. This is one of the prayer. Oh, my dear Lord, when my sacrifice was disturbed, I become fiercely angry because of false pride. This is false ego. Thus, I try to destroy your cowherd community with severe rain and wind. So this is what, wonderful prayers by Indra. So we can, from this pastime, we'll understand a little bit of this pastime, then you will be able to understand the concept which I'm trying to explain. Now, when Indra was, the people stopped the small village. Everybody was worshipping Indra. There were so many people are doing yajna for the benefit of the world. But one small village which stopped worshipping Indra. So naturally he got insulted. When he got insulted, then he thought, okay, what is a small village which stopped worshipping me? Let me show the power. And then he started somebody, when we are there in our house, we don't pay electricity bill for 6 months. What happened? They remove the plug, that's all. But Indra was insulted because of his false ego. It was multifolded. Is instead of they just not paid the respect to him. They just did not worship him. It's not a big offense or something like that. In case even offense also. So what he did, he started pouring so much water and rain, and he was completely wanted devastated. That's because this false ego come into the picture. If a person who is not having this false ego probably would have dealt with the situation differently. A small insult, but this false ego of Indra has multifolded in such a way that he went and dropped an atom bomb in literally in Vrindavan, killing everyone, putting a huge Samantaka cloud, and it was very furious rain and thunderstorm and things like that. But now what happened is, further Krishna, I just lifted the Govardhan, and there was not even a small inch of any problem for the Vrajavasis, and even Govardhan, even though the pillars of rain is falling, there is no harm to Govardhan because he was lifted by Krishna, and Govardhan was so blissful. He was flying in the air with ecstasy, and it's like a feather, Krishna holding the feather. And he was so jubilant, but pours of rains of thunderstorms are hitting the Govardhan mountain, but he never felt it. So this further humiliated Indra. One is he was insulted, then because of false ego, he tried to do it. Further, he was insulted in front of every devatas watching what's going to happen. And he was utterly flop. He can't even do anything. And entire devatas, entire community is watching. Imagine, you've been exposed in all your community, how you feel, or your workplace, or wherever it is. It was humiliated. So most of the people get into option of what? Frustrated, leaving morose, and taking a revenge, those sort of things. But Indra, being a devotee, what he did, he completely surrendered. Oh, I realize, Krishna, now this is because of my false ego. So in the prayers, what he says, oh Krishna, this is just because of my false ego, I could not able to identify. So this is what happens when we have our false ego. We can't understand Krishna. We will not be able to recognize Krishna. We will not be able to depend on Krishna. This all happens because of you. As long as that is there, we will try to do it. Now, what is the example of surrender in Srimad Bhagavatam? Any character which you can think about? Who is the example of surrender if I have to give?
Draupadi.
Okay, who else?
Even
Bali
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Okay.
Maharaj.
Okay.
Rajendra.
Yeah. So if you see the surrender of Sarvadharman Parityache Mamekam Saranam Raja Aham Tuam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshashayami Masuchaga. Draupadi is another example of wonderful surrender. She gave it up ever saying, Govinda, I can't do, you have to do it. There is no way I can come out of this. But Arjuna also surrendered, isn't not? Arjuna, did he surrender or not? After Bhagavad Gita speaking. But did he raise like Draupadi and he surrendered completely? Did he do that?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, surrendered.
Yes,
Not like Draupadi said completely.
Of course.
So he took the bow and borrow and said, let me fight Krishna. That's what he said. He did not say, Krishna, everything is yours, and you give me a strength. Like, I remember the example. Last week, I could not able to take the class. I told Medhavini Mataji, just short notice, you take the class. She did it. So one thing is that you prepare for the class. Today also I would have done it saying that I will not prepare. Oh Krishna, I am completely surrendering to you. You give me whatever you think, then only I'll present it. I don't have any control, right? Is it a right attitude?
Yes, Prabhuji.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
So if you don't prepare well, tomorrow I will not prepare anything. Okay. I'll
No,
come
nothing.
and-
No, nothing to worry, Prabhuji. Definitely, Sri Krishna will take care of this.
Surrender.
No, this is the false understanding.
Oh,
You have to prepare yourself.
yes, we have to.
When I put in a situation when Madhavi Mataji did not have time, then she had complete dependence, because naturally I was put into a situation where she didn't have a time to prepare. Then dependence is okay. But I've been given the topic 1 week before. I've been given the topic 3 days before or 2 days before. I had sufficient time to prepare. Still, I think, oh, Krishna is my false ego that I'm preparing. I will not prepare tomorrow. I will not. I'll sit, whatever you give, I'll tell. Is it a right attitude?
It's
No,
not.
Prabhuji. No, it's not right.
No, Prabhuji.
So what is surrender? What is the definition of surrender then?
We have to do our duty first by
Okay.
surrendering to the Supreme Lord.
So there are the surrender, the removing or renunciation of false ego can be of two categories. One is dependence, another one is diligence. Where you don't have complete control, where Medhavini did not have a control, 1 hour notice, I have to do as a seva, she picked it up, depend on Krishna, prayed and did it. That's dependence. She does not add a control over the situation. Diligence means somebody has control over the situation. I will perform for Krishna. For example, Arjuna, he had diligence because Krishna, I understood your Bhagavad Gita. I understood now. He's not under the control. He is a bowman. He can kill at least 100 people, if not other seniors. So he said, let me fight for you. And then using your whatever seva, focusing on Krishna, that is diligence. So you might be where the situation is not under control. You might be some cases you're trying to fight Maya, problem after problem after problem. You're not in control of anything. Then dependence. That's also removing false ego, surrender. But also your place where situation you are in control, you can do perfectly this seva, right? And doing it for Krishna, not for our material sense gratification, using our diligence to perform this activity, which is very much in the control. It is not that today also, okay, I will not prepare anything. I'll come and give the Bhagavatam class because I'm surrendered completely. That is not a good idea. You have to use your intelligence, use your facilities, and focus, completely dedicate on what the service we are doing it. That is also a surrender. Is it anybody disagree with me?
Prabhuji, yes, correct, Prabhuji, correct, Prabhuji.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Now, the Krishna, when we see that in this pastime, he's not in the mood of punishment. Krishna was smiling, Indra was praying, and he didn't take it that seriously. Or he wants to correct him, but he never gives the punishment. Similarly, sometimes what happens is we may not be able to control some situations, but we deliberately try to overcome that. Then Krishna is so merciful and he purifies. He wants to purify us. He puts into different situations so that we can get purified, right? Similarly, sometimes when we attempt to execute our devotional service, sometimes we are not able to control our senses. We might fall victim of the senses, but still we can success in bhakti. Whereas there are cases where you will succeed in controlling all your senses, but you can still fail in the bhakti. So give an example. Sometimes, we might follow some rules and regulations. We might follow some vratas and things like that. You might say fasting for Nirjal. You might be able to do perfectly, but you might see, let me see who is not fasting. And you look at it in the temple hall or in your place or places you come to know. There are many senior devotees who give wonderful lectures. They are not able to control and they are eating prasadam 3 times on Nirjal Ekadasi day. Then your mind is feasting on those things. You are able to control your senses perfect, but you're not progressing in bhakti because your false ego is enriching on those of the activities which other is not able to do, then definitely the person will not progress in bhakti. Whereas, other hand, a person can be successful in bhakti, attempting to control his senses, he is not able to do. Then he says, Krishna, I am not under control. I'm depending on you. Please make me overcome this problem. I'm trying hard and again, but these three modes of material nature, Mama Maya Duratya, it is not very difficult to overcome. I'm struggling a lot. I don't want to sleep a lot. I want to get up early. I want to do 16 rounds. I'm struggling a lot, but miserably fail. I don't want to eat outside, but I'm miserably failing. I'm not able to eat prasadam. You might struggle and fail, but your consciousness is intact where you want to try pleasing Krishna, so your dependency will increase more. Let me depend on Krishna. Krishna, you have to give. I'm going out of station. There is no place. I don't know. My son is going to the college. He doesn't get the prasadam there. How he is going to survive? There is no center. So you depend on completely on Krishna. We are trying to practice Krishna conscious and we practice it. Then still you will progress, success. Whereas you're comfortably sitting and doing all the rules and regulation, everything, but still you will not be able to progress in bhakti. You find anarthas, you find other things, mistakes with other Vaishnavas and other people are doing it, then still, what happens is your bhakti, it will not grow. So this is very important to focus that that this false ego, can be surrender can be at two places. One is, I said, you don't have control, completely depends. Sometimes we put into the situation. Sometimes we use our diligence. Where we have control, we will be able to perform our activity, not be lethargic. If some activity is given, some seva is given, you can do much better, then you should do it much better, perfectly, concentrate. The dependence on Krishna is more in both the places. Both are same. It does not mean that one is less, like Draupadi. Is greatest, Arjuna is not greatest. Under control of the situation of the war, he can not, not under the any situations, and the complete dependence. Both are equally same. So the essence is that we also need to perform various activities in Krishna consciousness, giving up false ego. Now, somebody asked why we need false ego, such a negative word. Why it is given as a false ego? Do we need false ego, first of all? Why Krishna created false ego? Are there any use, first of all? Can you foresee any usefulness in this false ego? No. So Krishna simply gave. He's not a punishing authority. I told you, he's a purification authority. Then why did he give false ego?
Because we wanted
Prabhuji,
to enjoy separately.
To purify us.
Prabhuji, for our entity, to prove our entity.
Okay.
False ego is given when for our
What is proving
entity, Prabhuji?
Sorry?
False ego is given to us because we wanted to enjoy this material world and lord it over the material nature.
Okay.
He is giving us the freedom. It is up to us to choose the one.
False ego is required. There are two types of functions false ego does. That's why this definition of various false ego you need to understand. One is that mind, intelligence, ego, as a thinking, or you say ahankara vimadatma kartaka midhi manyate. Krishna says this foolish person, he thinks he is doer. Like a person sitting on a baby sitting on this motorbike. If father comes every day, you'll go for a round. The kid would love his wait for his father to come. Then he will sit on the bike and he will do like this and it would drive. The baby thinks, oh, I'm the doer. I'm driving bike. But who is actually driving the bike? His father. Similarly, the Prakriti is driving everything. All modes of material nature drive us, our activities, what we're going to perform based on our modes and places of this body, what we got. We can't get rid of this body, right? What do you say? Based on whatever our karmas and swabha, we get this body, different modes of material nature, we get it. And accordingly, we will operate based out of that. So we are not able to control our body. Based on our body, certain times we need to respond to it. So this false ego is that one aspect. So Krishna condemns person having a false ego, pride, arrogance. That is a concept. As a function in the body, part of the body, false ego is required. False ego is the one which connects your body, the physical body, and the subtle body. So that is the soul. That is the connecting medium. If the body, the physical body, Panchabhuta, needs to talk to the soul, then the basic function, the binding force is the false ego. False ego connects between the body and the subtle element or the soul, you can say. So that way, that absence of that false ego, you will not be able to identify anything with yourself. So if you want to understand much more better, there is a phrase, I am a spirit soul in material body versus my material body has a spirit soul. Both are same. In a sense, my body, in my body, there is a spirit soul Atma. That is one understanding. Other understanding is, I am not this body, but my spirit soul has, I am a spirit soul, but I am in the material body temporarily. There's a huge difference. Invariably, in English sense, it's all the same meaning, but it has a huge difference. In the sense, you need to have this false ego only to understand the function based on which I need to interact, or I need to, for various reasons, I've taken this body. I need to utilize this body because I'm a spirit soul. I need to serve Krishna. That should be the attitude. Otherwise, what happens if the false ego identity is more? If you think too much of I am the doer, then you forget Krishna saying, I'm in control. Let me take care of my baby. Let me take care of my nation. Let me take care of my world. I know what is better for them. I'm in the control. So by using this Varnashrama system, slowly what you will engage your senses into the Krishna conscious activity. So then what happens is this, slowly we can overcome this false ego. Then ego is not a problem. It requires to identify with our body, but not too much. At the same time, we should have not completely saying that everything is Krishna. Krishna is in controller. I will do whatever we want. One example is that when Mahaprabhu was hearing somebody was singing Gita Govita or something, and he went and started towards the person. He wanted to embrace the person. Then his servant stopped. Mahaprabhu, that is a woman's body. What are you doing? Then he realized, oh, I can't touch woman. I'm a sannyasi. So that false identification is required, or identify I'm speaking to a woman, or I'm speaking to a person, or what situation I'm speaking. If you don't have false ego, that will not be there. But at the same time, you identify too much with I'm a female body, I'm too much with the male body. What happens is your ahankara will be corrupted. So as a concept, ahankara, pride should not be there, but as a function within the body to identify what is what, to connect the body and the subtle elements, we need this false ego. Otherwise, we will not be able to operate. So that is the, as a function, minimum required, but we should not be overstressed on the false ego that, then we identify with others and we deviate from Krishna consciousness. Okay, it is 12:30. I would stop here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, slides, the Shiva's slide has came in the screen, Prabhuji. Please show that, Prabhuji.
There's no relation between
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, some of you had asked question. Let us quickly see, and if I'm able to answer, I'll do that. Shambhu Rudra Shiva. It's not Shambhu Rudra Shiva. It is Sadashiva, Shambhu, Shiva, Rudra. This is sort of, you can't say this is a hierarchy, but Sadashiva is a pure Vaishnava Vishnu Tattva. There is is a pure milk Sada. And Sadashiva, that is pure Shiva, Vishnu Tattva is in Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha Loka. Then the Shambhu comes, is about to transform to curd. Sadashiva transform into Shambhu, which is a glance of Vishnu. Till he touches the material world is still Vishnu Tattva. Once he touches, then later Brahma's creation, Shiva comes. And Shiva or Rudra both are same. Shiva expansion to Rudra for destruction of this material universe. Then the same Tattva, Shambhu Tattva, becomes Shiva and Rudra. There are different names. Maheshwara, you call different name based on the pastime, but main tattva is three. Sadashiva is Vishnu tattva. Shambhu is the glance of Mahavishnu who impregnates his pradhan into Mahatattva, which he helps. So he is the person who touches both material and spiritual world, connecting that. And Shiva, Rudra is who's completely in the material world, but they are beyond these modes of material nature, but they are responsible for this. A certain extent, Shambhu is responsible for the false ego. Shiva controls the people who are in mode of ignorance, like Bhuta, Pishesha, and things like that, who helps them to go back to Godhead. And he himself expands during annihilation as 11 Nudras. So Shiva would in the material would preach, Sankaracharya and all those they all come from Shiva. So
Prabhu, I can also touch upon this, why Shambhu is called mundane egotistic principle. Because at the level of Shambhu also, it is Vishnu Tattva only, right?
Yeah,
so
he is responsible to infuse this false ego, what we have discussed so far. He is also responsible. I mean, the Jiva comes with their identity or their karma as well as Svava. When the glance comes through as a Jiva aspect, that is there. So Shiva helps us to segregate or enforces that ego, whatever we had, enable that to become take birth in this material world. So that's why he is also part of a caste, material caste, where Jiva is already having that. So that, with the Kala Shakti as glances Vishnu, and Kala Shakti along with this Jiva's karma and Svabha, Shambhu works out that emphasis on the ego, so that when we become Jiva, then we are identified with this body and things like that. Otherwise, we will be a pure soul and we will not identify with our, we will be a true ego. We will not be having false ego. So that is the work of Shambhu is doing it.
But Prabhu, the subtle body already carries it, na? You see, when we have not made perfected our life.
Yeah, that is an unmanifested state. That will be an unmanifested state. That's Hiranyagarbha, which talk about. Hiranyagarbha is a cumulative of someone of Jiva, so that they need to be segregated or they need to be activated under the modes of material nature. So when Kala Shakti and modes of material nature put in, then the Jiva's individual things will be unmanifest. So at that point in time, it will be unmanifested state. And Vishnu, when we go into the Pradhan, it will be unmanifested state. You can't segregate, oh, this is Jiva, this is Gaurchandra Gopina, this is somebody else in this Jiva. That will be undifferentiated state in Vishnu's body. And they came out, they need to be differentiated.
Okay, Prabhu. So the Shambhu's glance will actually make it manifest in the modes of material nature. And that individual Jiva, they pick up their own respective qualities, and based on their previous qualities and karma, they will pick up their own level of ahankara. Is that okay? Right understanding?
So that's between the Prakriti or Mother Nature and Shiva, both of them enable that. Modes of material nature comes from Mother, and the Jiva's ahankara part of it. So, all together, Shiva and Parvati makes us the Jivas to segregate from Pradhan to Mahatattva when they develop, and the individual personalities come out, but they will not have a body. So the second creation, Brahma enables to get a proper father and mother, so that the soul can enter into the womb of the body. So that soul ready to become individual identity with their previous vasanas, that's helped by Shambhu and Mother Nature.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Ego's impact of Jivas, Krishnamurti Prabhu. Now, the Jivas, how it is impacted. We have seen different versions. The Jivas, as long as there's a false ego, you can't go back to Godhead. That needs to be removed. Either you can use it, as I mentioned, dependence on the Lord, or you can use diligence to perform your most of the time we are intelligence, because we are at least in control of situation where at least we are getting some money to eat, good parents are there, at least some family members are there to take care of us. So basic things are there. We need to use our diligence in the means of surrender to Krishna. It's not that I give up everything. Today, tomorrow, I go to some temple, I'll sit there saying, Krishna, Prabhu told surrender, complete surrender, Sarvadharman Pratyaksha. Like Draupadi, I'm leaving everything. I don't know tomorrow what I will eat. I'll sit in the middle street and let it happen, whatever happen. That's foolishness. So you need to use your diligence also to surrender. That's what we meant. So the jiva is only affected because the ahankara, right? This is the basic identity of a person, or connecting a basic medium which it connects. Somebody asks ahankara versus tamaguna. Yes, tamaguna, ahankara is in tamaguna, but it is not that tamaguna controls mind and intelligence. Tamaguna is definitely lower modes of material nature, lower than the mode of goodness and mode of passion. Shambhu versus mundane ego. I think we sort of discussed. Ego, negative quality. I tell ego is required. Otherwise, we will not identify with anything. So that is required as a function, but as a concept, we should not have. See, it's very hard to define this false ego. So one is conceptual way to say ahankara vidumatma, somebody's pride, that and all needs to go. I'll tell you one story. Probably you will understand this. There is one pujari. He was very sincere, and he would get up at 4 o'clock. Last 30 years, he never missed Mangalarti. And he sincerely would come 2:45, would get up, arrange everything, Mangalarti pour, he would be sharp ready. He never missed anything. He never, 35 years, he did not do. One day he fell sick and he was sleeping almost, it is 3:45 or 3:30 almost. And he himself forgot and he could not able to get up, so tired, and he was sleeping. Somebody came and wake him up. Hey, Pujari, so many years you've been doing service. What happened today? Why are you sleeping? I know you're not well, but you would have got up little late, but it's already almost time for Mangalarti. Then he got up, 15 minutes is there, he quickly took shower and he came back to the altar, he did puja, everything. And he was so happy. Oh, who is this person who has come and helped me? Such a nice person. I missed my vow of 35 years. I would have broken. I need to thank him. And he was looking this person he never seen before. And after some time, he saw this person and he called, "Oh, person, come here. You are the person who wake me up in the morning." Yes, I am the person. But I never seen you in the temple. Who are you? He said, "I am the Kali Purusha." We all know Kali Purusha is bad for our devotion service. Why are you helping me? He said, so that you get a pride. See, I am doing it for last 30 years. I am great in giving class. I'm giving great in that, this, I know everything. So that you are in the false ego, in the modes of false ego. That's a concept of false ego, being arrogant, a pride of something. But as a function, I know in order to function in this world, I'm Jivera Swarupa Krishna and Nityadas, even though I say that I'm a spirit soul in the body, but this body, can I give it up? No, I need this body to perform devotional service. I can't give up this body. Does not mean that I need to completely also in mode of the bodily concept, but I need to know this body is required to perform devotional service, but I'm a spirit soul. Sorry, where is that? So too many slides. So the last one, I'm a spirit soul in the material body. I am not this body, but somehow I came. I need to do that. You can't completely eliminate. I am Jiva Swarupa Krishna and Nityadas. Tomorrow onwards, Krishna will take care. That cannot be possible. I know I have a constraint in this body. I've given this situation. I need to still perform devotional service, but I am a spirit soul. That concept needs to come in. So without little bit of false ego, without this body, you can't do anything. Still, you need to have this body identity. At least, I am a woman, what I can do, as a man, what I can do. That needs to be there, but it's not that you completely identify completely into that. That you can overcome by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll stop here. Okay. Any other?
Thanks a lot, Prabhuji.
Any other thing we missed it?
Prabhuji, then what about you? You asked whether the Atma has the Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, and the Vaikuntha Loka when the Krishna. So what is the answer, Prabhuji?
Homework. You read. So why I'm asking all these questions, not to solve everything here. One is interactive, you give complete attention. Second thing is that you have some ruchi to go back and read Srila Prabhupada books, identify them, put your work, because this will taunt you in mind, oh, what is the answer? What isn't? Let me go and see. You might not get the right answer. You might not get the answer, and that's fine. But my intention is that you all go back and read Srila Prabhupada scrutinizingly, not reading, but studying. There is a difference between reading and studying. Reading is flip through pages. Studying means, oh, let me stop. Where is the reference to it? How do I understand this? Other places says Prabhupada is written in the same purport. There are any other reference. That's studying. That will help you out. Don't worry, this exercise is all about how to, my intention is how you deeply go into Prabhupada books, not becoming very scholarly. If you don't know the answer, it's not that you will not go back to Godhead. You will still go back to Godhead. You ask this question, whether you will not, if you don't know this, you will not go back to Godhead, you will go back to Godhead, right? But the intention is, what is the process you follow to attain this goal? What is the process you develop to read the Prabhupada books? That's the reason I'm going depth, so that you all understand how these acharyas have put in so much effort, and how responsibly we should read Srila Prabhupada books.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. His Grace Gaurachandra Gopinath Prabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur
Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Nitai Gaur
Brahma Samhita ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare
Pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandavat pranam.